All right. Good afternoon, senior class of 2021. I'm so excited to see you all. I know it's not how we normally do our senior meetings, but I'm still thrilled to get this information out to you all because it's time for senior year. What other way to kick off senior year than by knowing the college application process and just getting an understanding of how we're going to move forward for the rest of the year? For those who don't know me, my name is Mr. Devontae Lee. I'm the College Access Coordinator here at Bel Air High School. This is my 7th year of college advising, my 5th year here at the best high school in all of Houston Independent School District, Bel Air High School. So I'm thrilled to be embarking on another journey with you all this year. So without much further ado, let's get started. So, whenever I start the senior meeting, I like to start it by telling everyone in the auditorium is usually where we begin senior year, and in the auditorium is usually where we end senior year. So I'm really going to be hopeful and optimistic that we're going to be right back there. So to think about why we're doing all this, I want to show you all what that end goal is going to look like. These are some pictures from our decision day that we held in 2019. Decision day is our big end of the year celebration where we celebrate the students who made the decision throughout the school year. To either apply to college or apply for the military, and we celebrate those students in whatever decision that they made. So hopefully at the end of this year-long process that we get ready to start today, we are ready and we know that at the end of this journey, we're going to get celebrated. All right. So today, we're going to talk about the important things that you all need to be successful in the college application process. We're going to talk about knowing your numbers and what all that means. We're going to talk a bit about how to research colleges, how to apply, what we have to send in to apply. We're going to talk a bit about financial aid and then the College Center and our expectations of you all. Okay? At the end of the presentation, I will be taking questions. So if you want to, I think there's a question box. You can put those questions in. And we have Miss Campbell from campus who is monitoring those questions. And at the end of the presentation, she'll be giving me some of those questions. So if you have them along the way, you can type them in. I'm sure I'll answer them. But if not, go ahead and put them in a safe place so they do get answered. All right, let's get started. Knowing your numbers. Okay, this is the first part. Whenever we have our one-on-one conversations, our advising sessions, anything, you need to know your numbers. Without knowing your numbers, you're not going to be set up for success as we move into the process. Okay, one of the numbers you need to know is your GPA, your grade point average. For a lot of you all have been filling out your applications and it's been asking you what is your grade point average. One, you should know your number. Okay, we'll talk about how you can get that number later. But two, you should also know that that number is on a weighted 4.0 scale. Okay, so if you're asked that question, it is a weighted 4.0. The GPA that you have right now, you received probably at the end of June, and that was the last time it was ran, and that's your GPA from the end of 11th grade. Okay, and that's going to be the GPA we use pretty much throughout the college application process. Your first semester grades will not be considered as we are applying to college. Okay. That doesn't mean we can't do well first semester or second semester because you're still going to need that for graduation. So keep that in mind. Next, class rank. So if we were to take everyone's GPA and line them up from the highest GPA to the not so highest GPA, and then assign a student to every position, that's going to be your class rank, where you fall within the class. Okay, your class rank is going to be exact if anyone's asking or receiving that question on any applications. Right now, there are 790 members of the wonderful class of 2021 at Bel Air High School. Okay, so 790 of you all. Keep that in mind when we're sending out emails and we're thinking about the number and the size of the class. Okay. When we talk about class rank, it's usually broken down into quartiles. So when I talk, I'll usually say first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, or fourth quarter. Here's that breakdown so we have a better understanding of what that means. Okay. This is the preliminary class rank that you all received in July. As it says on here, class rank will be reran in October and February, but we'll have Ms. Brevard, the registrar on campus, to talk to you all more about that here in a bit. All right. So as you can see on here, the top 6% includes the first 47 students. They have the GPA range right there, starts there and goes up. We have the top 10% breakdown. You see how many students are there, top quarter, and so on and so forth. So if you're unsure about where you rank, I would take your GPA from your transcript and find out which range you fall in, how many students are in that range, and then there are some benefits that come along with being top 6, top 10, top quarter, top half, so on and so forth. And we'll talk more about that later in a bit. But again, you have to know your numbers before we start the process. Okay. Mentioning knowing your numbers. So usually when I have this presentation, I say one of the important numbers you need to know is your SAT and ACT score. And I cannot tell you that is the #1 most requested email I have in my inbox. I'm still trying to filter through all my emails, but SAT and ACT has to be the most asked question, okay? So for students who don't know, right now we're in this really weird phase where a lot of students aren't able to test due to COVID-19, the precautions put on social distancing, so on and so forth. So getting tests in have been really difficult. As you all know, we weren't able to take the March in-school SAT. That was the one free SAT that every senior was offered. And since then, it seems like almost every SAT and ACT since has been rescheduled, canceled, moved. I know some students have been able to sit in and get spots, okay? The way we're handling SAT this year is if the schools that you're applying to do not require it, there's no need for you to take the test, okay? I'll repeat that again. If the schools that you are applying to this school year do not require you to take the SAT, there's no need for you to take the test. And let's talk about that a little bit more. Okay, if we're applying to schools this year who say they're test optional or test flexible, what that means is the SAT score and the ACT score is not required to be considered for admissions. Okay, a good amount of schools are trending in this direction because of COVID-19 and not being able to have proper testing procedures. Okay, a lot of schools are doing this for 1 year. So they're saying the applicant class of 2021, this will be for you all. Some schools are thinking in advance and realizing, hey, class of 2022, they're not going to be able to take SAT and ACT as juniors right now. So this may be something that affects them in the long term. So some schools have done it for 1 year, multiple years, or just have made the permanent shift to not consider test scores when we look into the application. If we're not going to look at the test scores, we're going to have to look at everything else that makes you a great student even more closely, okay? So that means we're gonna have to look at your grades. We're gonna look at the courses that you took and we're gonna determine the rigor. How difficult were these courses? Did you take the most difficult courses possible at your school, okay? They're also really gonna pay a lot of attention to the the essay. So the essay is gonna be important for schools that require it this year. Also, keep in mind they're going to take into consideration your letters of recommendation. So those are going to be important, as well as your resume or an understanding of any of the extracurricular activities that you may have been a part of while in school. Okay, so for some students, this is a great option because we don't necessarily have to worry about registering for a test, finding a location, making sure the location stays open, going to the testing center the day of testing, not having anxiety, sitting, taking the test, and then waiting on our scores. So for some of us, we don't have to worry about all that, and we can use our time more wisely in beefing up our essays some more, or maybe getting to know, joining a club or organization, or getting some extra community service hours, doing something else, another part of your application, focusing on that to help boost your chances of getting accepted, okay? So if you're unsure about what your schools, the schools that you're interested in, what their testing policy is, I give you two websites here, Fair Test and College Transitions, where you can check and see what the status of your colleges that you're interested in, what they're doing for this upcoming application year. Also, the most up-to-date information, the most checked, the most vital information is going to be found on the university's website. So if you don't find anything on here or on Fair Test or College Transitions, or if you want to confirm that that's the most accurate information, definitely check the university's websites, okay? At the bottom of the slide, you can see that I put a note that test optional or test flexible admissions might put you at a disadvantage for merit-based scholarships, though some schools will consider you despite you not sending your SAT or ACT scores, okay? So what that means is some schools are still looking at those scores to consider you for the merit money. That's your mental money for good grades and good test scores. So they're not going to give you the good money for good scores if you don't have the scores. So keep that in mind. If we're looking for those scholarships that are merit-based, we may have to have those test scores. So you may want to do research to see, one, do I really need the test? Two, if so, why am I testing? For admissions or for financial aid? And three, is it going to be worth it in the end? Okay, and that may be a conversation you have with me and Mr. Stewart. That may be a conversation you have with your parents. That may be a conversation you have within. All right, so just keep that in mind. If you are interested in taking the SAT and ACT, I've included this slide still so you have an understanding of the difference. Long story short, the SAT and ACT are both around the same amount of time on Saturday mornings. While the SAT has reading, math, and an essay, the ACT has reading, math, and essay, as well as an English section and a science section. So the main difference between the SAT and ACT is really going to be that science section. So if you know you're good at science, that may be an advantage to taking the ACT over the SAT so you can get as many points for the things you're good at. All right. The total possible score you can get on the SAT is a 1600. The total possible score on an ACT is going to be a 36. All right. National average, you can see those right there, as well as the state of Texas, their average. Okay. There's no penalty on either test for guessing. So I always recommend students, if you're going to take the test, make sure you fill in every answer. Okay. And colleges will accept either SAT or ACT. So submit whatever score you do better on. Submit whatever test you have a better score on. Okay. Again, if your school is not requiring you to turn in SAT or ACT, there is not a big push to do it. Okay. These are those dates and the late registration deadlines, okay? They do offer dates in the spring. However, those dates start around March. So where a lot of students are like, oh, I'll wait till the spring to test, you won't have many opportunities. And a lot of times those spring testing opportunities are past the university's admissions deadline, excuse me, okay? So you can look at those dates. So let's talk about research, because as you see, that's going to be an important component in how we move this year. You're going to have to be the experts on the universities that you are applying to. Okay. I know so much, know a lot in my 7 years, but you all are going to have to be the masters of your navigation. And this is how we do that. We're going to use these resources to point us in the right direction so we can gather the right information to make the best choice on universities to apply to. So first and foremost is the #1 website itself, Naviance. Naviance is our one-stop shop for everything that we do college-related at Bel Air High School. This is where we are going to put our college list, so you can communicate that with the College Center. This is where we also go in to request letters of recommendation, as well as some other things we'll talk about here in a bit. But Naviance is a great tool to do college research, okay? There are some programs in there that I really enjoy using, such as Supermatch, which is a program that lets you put all the things that you're looking for in a college or university, and then it creates a list of universities that match what you're looking for. Does it takes your PSAT information as well as your GPA, and it puts it on a plot graph with all the other applicants of that university from Bel Air High School within the last 5 years. So you get to see 5 years worth of data, SAT and GPA, and you get to see kind of where you fall within that data. So you'll get to see students who were accepted, students who were denied, and students who were waitlisted. And then from there, you get to see what your possibility is based off where you fall in that list. So scattergrams is a really neat tool just to see if schools are within range for you to apply to as a reach school, a target school, or a safety school. We're going to talk a bit more about that later on in the presentation. Okay. You can log into Naviance through the hub, through digital resources, and you should be able to log in with your Clever ID. So if you're having any issues with that, I'll be having an open advising hour tomorrow. We can talk more about that. All right. Another great website to use is Big Future. This is through College Board. They put together this great website that just gives you a lot of information about different colleges. Here we can compare colleges, so put them side by side and see what how they're similar or how they're different. We're able to also just get a lot of demographic information for the universities. We can see where they're located, what majors they offer. We can see what the student population, the makeup is. So a lot of good information that students need when they're looking up information on their colleges. So that's Big Future. College Data is a great website. I personally like College Data because I'm a numbers guy. If you're numbers like me and you want to see how the numbers necessarily line up, College Data may be for you. What you can see on there is last year's class. If you're interested in seeing the median or average SAT and ACT score of accepted students, you can find that on College Data. If you're looking to see the average GPA of students that got in, you can see that on College Data. If you're looking to see where more females accepted over males, you can find that on College Data. So College Data has a lot of information pertaining to the universities and the previous incoming class, their makeup, and it can help you identify if you have the numbers to fall within that range. Okay. And another website I like is College Raptor. Again, a lot of information just to help you build your list, connect with different college reps. So I know they have a section on there where you can connect with different representatives, and just a really neat tool. So those are the big four websites we really use in the College Center. Outside of those websites, the number one website you should be checking is the school's admissions website, okay? You can get everything from deadlines to the needed application materials to where you need to submit letters of recommendations, all on the admissions website. So for instance, let's say I'm interested in applying to the University of Florida. I would go to uflorida.edu to get more information on that, okay? Let's say I was interested in the University of Houston, uh.edu, and from there I can get more information on deadlines such as priority deadlines, regular deadlines, or scholarship deadlines, what that necessarily means, and things like that, okay? So we gave you some digital ways to connect one by yourself solo. There are also some ways for you to connect. There's also some ways for you to connect virtually with colleges. So a lot of colleges are having visits either virtually or in person where you can still go and see them. So if you're interested in visiting colleges, one, check their website first and foremost to see if they're accepting visitors. And if so, make sure you take the proper precautions and guidelines when visiting different states. If not, a lot of colleges are still having virtual meetings where you can meet them one-on-one in Zoom, in Teams, so on and so forth, and you can still connect that way. I know I saw a lot of students that connected with UT about 2 weeks ago when we sent out information about their virtual meeting that they were having. So virtual meetings are here. I like them. They're fun. We're able to get more one-on-one interaction with reps than we would have at maybe a college fair where you would have been a number simply, okay? Mentioning college fairs, we're still having college fair this year. I'm super excited to be planning and bringing you all college fair virtually. Okay, Bel Air is host to one of the largest college fairs of all of HISD, with over 200 different colleges and universities from all over the U.S., including some international schools. Right here for one night. So this year we're trying to make it happen. It's still in the works, but we're doing it virtually on Tuesday, October 13th. Okay, so go ahead, take out your phones, put it in your notes, put a calendar, something. Tuesday, October 13th is gonna be the virtual college fair. But the good thing about college fairs going virtual is there are a lot of different specific college fairs, and there are some college fairs that are major specific. So some college fair I shared with a student today was specifically for those students who were interested in performing in visual arts. That's one that's taking place. So if you know that's something that you're interested in, be on the lookout for that email. College fairs like that can be super beneficial to narrowing in. You know what you want to study, you just want to see the best colleges for that. I know another potential college fair coming up soon is a STEM college fair. So those students who are interested in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, you'll have your own college fair where you can connect with top universities in those fields, to just share your information, to see if you're the best fitting student, and to help get your application in. Okay, so whether we're doing it via website, via online meeting, or if you're lucky enough to get out and about and visit the campus, research is going to be critical this year. Okay, we don't have the luxury of meeting face to face because that's where I usually shine when y'all come in the college center and jump in and ask questions. So it's going to be a lot on you all, a lot of heavy lifting on your part to be the masters of college. You have to know all the information possible for the schools that you're applying to. Okay. So again, why is research important? If we take the time to do research now, we have an easier time writing our essays and our short answers, especially when they're asking, why do you want to attend Tyler Junior College? Okay, that's a junior college right here in Texas. Why do you want to attend this 2-year school? If you don't know anything about that school, then you're not going to be able to write about that school. You're not going to be able to write about that school well. And then it's going to show to the admissions reps when they're reading, and you're like, I like Tyler JUCO because they're black and gold. And it's going to be like, we're not accepting you because you like the school colors. Okay. Why is it important to do research? So you don't miss deadlines. Okay. A lot of schools have different types of deadlines, and missing a deadline can be the difference between you getting accepted the first round or you not finding out till 3 or 4 months later, or you getting accepted or you getting denied, or you getting a scholarship opportunity or you not getting that opportunity. So make sure you stay up to deadlines. I know, for instance, missing a deadline, if you didn't do the research on the University of Houston, you may not have known that their scholarship deadline is November 1st. So what that means is to apply to U of H, you have to have to apply for U of H scholarships, scholarships directly coming from the university, you have to have your application for admissions submitted by November 1st. Okay. But if you didn't do the research, you wouldn't know that. All right. Doing the research also allows you to plan in advance. So if we need to test, you've done the research to know this university is still asking for test scores. I really want to go to this school. I need to plan, when am I going to fit some testing in? Or it helps you plan, I know I need to submit everything by December 1st. 10 days before that, I need to request transcripts. 30 days before that, I need to request letters of recommendation. 2 weeks before that, I may want to have a meeting with the College Center to go over my application. So when 2 weeks come, all I have to do is press submit. Okay. We also do research for financial aid. We don't want to miss scholarships. We don't want to miss grant opportunities. We don't want to miss any free money that may be coming for the university. If you don't do the research, ultimately, you won't know if you're the type of student that that university is looking for, and you're more likely to attend, not like the university, and end up transferring within a year or two. So as I tell students, take the time now to do the research so later we're set. We won't have to regret anything. Do something for your future self, now. Okay, so quick little note, we aren't taking any Q&A in the Q&A portion of the Teams app just because we're having some issues with that. So if you have some questions, please send that via Remind to the Bel Air Remind. Miss Campbell's going to be gathering those again for me, and she will let me know what some of the most popular questions are. Okay. So if you are looking to get out and about and do some visits, please know that according to the student handbook, seniors are allowed two college visits during the year with advance approval from their assistant principal, their AP. So I kept this slide in the instance that we are on campus and you would like to take 2 days off to go visit a college in the virtual world. Not gonna lie, I don't know how that's gonna work. We can definitely talk more about that, but I would also expect that in the virtual world with synchronous and asynchronous learning, you would find time sometime throughout your day to get things done. So keep that in mind. Okay. So let's talk about the 3 different types of schools that we will be applying to. Okay. So when we do our advising sessions, these are going to be the labels that we use. So I really want you all to become familiar with what they mean. The 3 types of schools we're going to be applying to are going to be called reach schools, target schools, and safety schools. Okay. So let's first talk about your reach schools. These are going to be schools where you have less than a 30% chance of being accepted. Okay. These are those schools where they're like, where students come to me and they're like, Mr. Lee, these are my dream schools. I really want to apply to this school. For some students, that school is Harvard. For some students, that school is UT. For some students, that school is U of H, and that's okay. If you are interested in that school enough that you've done the research and you still want to take the shot, I'm going to support you, but I will let you know if that's a reach school. Okay. If you have too many reach schools on your list, I'll let you know that as well. And when we sit down and have that conversation, we're going to have to add some more of the other types of schools. Okay. When you think of reach schools, think of us grabbing, we're trying to reach for that school. We're reaching for any chance of hope to get into that school. All right. But if accepted, wow, what a great feat. All right. So let's look at target school. So our target schools are going to be any schools where you have anywhere between a 30 and 70% chance of being accepted. Your academic profile falls within the school's middle percent, your average, okay? There's no guarantee that you're going to get accepted, but it's not unreasonable to expect an accepted response from this university, okay? So those are going to be our target schools. Most students, when they make their list, most of the schools on their list are going to be target schools. This is a great school within your, it's a great school within your academic reach. It based off your academic profile, that matching that we talked about, that last presentation that we did, based off the matching factors, you match with the university and what they're looking for as far as a student. Okay, so that's going to be target. Our safety schools are going to be schools where we have over a 70% chance of getting accepted. So we look at this gray section, over 70%, okay? Your profile exceeds the school's range for the average freshman pretty confidently, and you're pretty confident you will be accepted, okay? The one good thing I like about safety schools is because we usually use those safety schools as backups for that merit money. Remember we talked about that? That's the mental money, good grades, good scores. So our safety schools, we may be above average what they're looking for. So in essence, we may be a big fish in a small pond. In that case, you seem really attractive to the college or university, and they really want to get you there. So in that instance, your safety schools may be those schools where they're throwing the money out there. They're saying we're really excited and we want you. Okay, so some of our safety schools may be schools where we have automatic acceptance to. So maybe top 10%, top quarter, we have automatic acceptance to. Safety schools may also be those schools where we have financial safety. So it may be a state school because that's more financially within our range. It may be a community college because we already have savings for that. Okay, so when we think of reach, target, and safety, we're not only thinking as far as academics, but I want you all to also think as far as financial aid. And if we have a healthy mix of all three on your college list will be set up for success. We can apply to those schools and we can expect, a good mix of responses. I think this is where I'm going to take a mini break to answer some questions before we move on to the next section. So, Ms. Campbell, I'm signaling out to you. Can you drop some questions on me, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Lee, can you go back over where they can find the scattergram?
Scattergrams. So scattergrams is going to be in Naviance. If I find a video about that, I will be sending out that video to you all. But scattergrams, I'll put that in this week's update, this week's reminder that goes out to the senior class. Perfect.
Great. There are quite a few questions about where they request letters of recommendation, and then a couple of STEM questions from that about when is a good time to ask, when should they send the brag sheet, should they request the letters before they've completed their applications, just all along that line.
Okay, so we have a slide about letters of recommendations and when to request those. So we're going to hold those questions off until the end.
Okay.
I think we're good.
All right.
I think it's just a lot of letters of recommendation.
Yeah, and hold on. And then could you go back over the college fair time and date?
College fair will be on October 3rd, Tuesday, October 3rd, virtually, and it's gonna be at 6 p.m.
Great, and this one's from this section too. I'll try and narrow them to that. You talked about the SAT and the ACT, and there are a couple of questions about if you've got a good score. I mean, will it make you more competitive if you include it?
So if you have a good SAT score and you're looking to send that off to the university, I think we would have to have a one-on-one conversation where we look at your class rank, your GPA, all that you've been involved in, and then from there we make the best decision of should you use your scores or should you not. But if your scores only reflect you in the best light, why not submit them?
Okay, and then I'll hold off and let you continue on, and we'll ask some more in just a little bit.
All right, so here is the meat and bread of what everyone's looking for: how to apply to college. Okay, so as per all of our presentations, if it's underlined, it's usually a hyperlink. So we can click on something like Naviance and it'll take us directly to the login for Naviance. Okay, the student login. Okay, so how do we apply to college? So our first step before we do anything is we must get on Naviance and make sure our colleges are listed in colleges I'm applying to. If you do not do this, we cannot do anything for you. We cannot do letters of recommendations. We cannot do transcripts.
Are they
nothing.
showing our enrollment number, not our membership number?
It's showing everybody.
Ms. Campbell. I need you all to make sure that you have your colleges
Right, it's more helpful for you to see right now if everybody else is kind of in line with where we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes district and our enrollment looks good. I haven't taken out any.
All right. Let me see.
Any no shows.
Ms. Campbell.
That's working.
Anything, not a damn thing.
Okay. Hopefully she mute. Did she mute? All right. Thanks. Okay. So sorry about that. Make sure you have your colleges listed in colleges I'm applying to. From there, you should know how you're applying to these colleges after you've done your research. So you should know if you're using Common App, Apply Texas, or another application. We are going to get on those websites, fill out our application. After we fill out our application, we need to either send a fee, so pay the fee online, or send a fee waiver. We're going to talk about that as well. as well as sending transcripts. That information is right here, as well as supplemental items. So let's get started. This is what our timeline is going to look like. So we've already talked about researching the colleges and universities. We've already talked about making that list and narrowing it down. After we know what we need to do and we know what the universities are looking for, we need to get everything that they're looking for. Finish your essays, your resumes, your letters of recommendation. And then from there, we apply, okay? After we're done applying, we need to make sure we send everything that that university needs of us. And then once we've done our part, it's just making sure we follow up daily with the university to make sure there's not anything that they're looking for and checking our emails. I think you all more than anyone will be prepared for college because we're in this virtual world where emails and text messages are so important and checking that. So make sure you're checking your email daily from the university so we can ensure that we're not missing out on any deadlines, any missing documents or things of that nature. And then last but not least, we're going to apply for university scholarships and financial aid, and then we'll make our decision, and that'll be at the end of the school year. Okay, so this is your entire senior year. So I want you all to know that some students think we're only going to be working 1, 2, 3, and then they're free the rest of the year. That's not how this works. The college application process is a marathon, not a sprint. So we're going to be running all 9 months long, but know that you're running with a good coach. So let's talk about Naviance. Please keep your email up to date in Naviance. You can go to About Me under the My Account. You can go to the About Me tab. From there, we select My Account. And from there, you can update your email address. Okay. These red links that I've included, these are going to be some of those popular questions that I get a lot in the College Center. So this first one right here is a video on how to add colleges to your colleges I'm applying to list. Some students are a little unsure about how to do that. It shows you step-by-step how to do it. Now, this is going to be important because I send out my emails and my scholarship information based off of what schools you have on your list. So let's say you have Trinity University on your list. You're going to get the scholarships or any counselor meetings that may be happening with Trinity specifically for you. So if you're interested in multiple schools, put those schools on your list so you can get all that information. We don't miss out on anything. Additionally, we also use that college list for when schools do their virtual visits with Bel Air. So there'll be a calendar on there where you can see which schools are coming. You'll get reminders based off which schools are on your list, so on and so forth. Okay, so if I have not stressed it enough, it is important that you have your colleges on your list. The next bullet video is going to be for those students who are using Common App and Naviance. So Common App and Naviance are two applications that actually talk to each other. So if you are using Naviance, it's going to be important that you match your Common App and your Naviance account. And this video shows you step-by-step how to do that. Once we've done that, we're able to then request letters of recommendations for our Naviance or for our Common App schools, as well as we're able to request our counselor letter of rec for our Common App schools as well. So matching your Naviance and your Common App are going to be super important. So when this email is shared, when this presentation is shared with you all, excuse me, you should be able just to go on here, click, and it should take you step by step to how to do it. Now the most requested question, requesting letters of recommendation for Common App schools. I got a video for you all that shows you step by step. But ultimately, what you're going to want to do is from your Naviance homepage, you're going to go to your upper right-hand corner, click on colleges, and drop down is going to come from there. We're going to go down to where it says applying to college, click on that, and a new tab is going to open up. And then from there, we're going to click on letters of recommendation. It's going to take you to a new screen where you can request your recommenders. There's going to be 2 add recommender buttons. Doesn't matter which button you click. Click the one on top, click the one on bottom. You're still able to submit your request. From there, it's going to take you to a page where you have a list of Bel Air teachers to select from. You select your teacher, and then you can select if you want your recommender to be a letter of rec for all the schools that you're applying to, or we can have it set for specific colleges. So if you know at one college you're applying physics, but at another college you're doing engineering, but you only want to use your physics teacher for part, and maybe you want to use the comp sci teacher for another part. We can split it up like that, and we can say which schools get which letters of rec. Okay, but again, that says for Common App. So there's going to be a different way that we have to do it for Apply Texas, and I'll tell you all about that in the next couple of slides. But also on Naviance, you will have the calendar of when colleges are visiting Bel Air virtually. So take some time, if you haven't already, to dig into Naviance and explore. At this point, it's a system that's been around kind of since you were in middle school. If you don't know how to use it at this point, you're really doing yourself a great disadvantage. Go on there, click on some of the tools for research, click on some of the tools for college, building your college list, your resume, different things like that. Okay, I talked to you all about how we use some strength quests or strength finders via Naviance your junior year. So senior year, we're really using it for the college components. All right, let's talk about those applications. So the first step was putting everything into Naviance. After that, we actually have to know where we're applying and submit an application. These are our two main applications that we use in the College Center. The first one's going to be Apply Texas. This is going to be your one-stop shop to all of your applications in the state of Texas, with the exception of Rice University. Okay, Rice University is not on Apply Texas. So if you're looking to apply to a 2-year or 4-year school, public or private, we're going to use Apply Texas. If we're in Naviance and we're trying to put how we're applying to the schools, that's a section on Naviance when you add your colleges. They ask, how are you applying to these schools? If it says direct to institution, odds are that's an Apply Texas application. So if you're using an Apply Texas application and that's a school in the state of Texas, direct to institution means Apply Texas. Okay. Again, I give y'all that link. That link is going to be www.applytexas.org. Again, all your Texas apps. But if you're looking to apply outside of Texas, there's another application that you can use that houses over 900 different college applications nationwide, and that's going to be, the Common App. The Common App, like I said, is going to be home to your out-of-state applications, your Ivy League, Rice, as well as some international schools. So if your school is public, private, in-state, out-of-state, you can find it on Common App. Common App is also home to 18 new Texas universities. So some of the new universities on Common App are U of H has always been on there, UNT, University of North Texas. I know UT Dallas, UT Arlington, Texas Tech, if I'm not mistaken. So a lot of schools are on Common App. So if you're applying to mostly only Texas schools, I recommend you pretty much stay in Apply Texas. If you're applying to mostly out-of-state schools, I would recommend you doing Common App. If you have some in both, that's okay. You may have to have an Apply Texas and a Common application, and there's nothing wrong with that. Okay. If you can't find your applications on either Apply Texas or Common App, check the school's website for the application type. Okay. They may have a private application that you have to fill out, or they may have another way that they want you to submit application. One application system that a lot of schools, some schools are a part of, is called the coalition application. The coalition application is a little more difficult, and it's not necessarily student or counselor friendly. And the reason I bring that up is the counselors are the ones that do a lot of heavy lifting for you all as far as letters of recommendation and some other things that they have to do on the back end of your applications. Let's try to make it as counselor friendly as possible so they can do as much as possible to help you shine in your application process. So let's say, for instance, you are doing an application that is found on Coalition, but it's also found on Apply Texas. Go ahead and do it on Apply Texas. If it's also found on Common App, go ahead and do it on Common App. If they have their personal application, consider doing their personal application. Okay, these are going to be our 3 common ways that we apply: Apply Texas, Common App, and the personal application. Let's talk about deadlines. So we already understand when what we're submitting, but we need to understand when we're submitting. So these deadlines are going to be really important in making sure that we gather all of our documents and we receive all the benefits or opportunities assigned to each deadline. So the first deadline I want to talk about is ED, early decision. Okay. Early decision is a binding contract between you, the student, your parents, and us at Bel Air High School. And what that basically says is you are submitting your college application early to be considered for early review. Should you be accepted through that early review, it is a binding contract that you will attend that college in the fall of 2021. Okay. That one school that you apply to, you will attend that university. So, for instance, Princeton. Princeton's a school that has ED. So if you have always been set on wanting to go to Princeton, you bleed black and orange, and you can't wait to be, I think, a pirate, if I'm not mistaken, then that may be something that you want to consider. What I usually tell students, if you're considering early decision, you really need to be secure in your financial options, meaning maybe family has something saved, or maybe it comes along with a big scholarship, something along those lines. Because early decision, again, is that binding contract that no matter what, if you are accepted to that university, you have to attend. So, should the money not add up, I would hate for that to be a reason. That'd be a difficult position to be in, attending a university that costs too much. So, ED, early decision, binding. Now, if you're looking for that same early consideration, look at my application a little earlier and you find out a little earlier, but you don't want it to be binding, consider early action, or EA. Again, you get looked at, you submit your application earlier, you get looked at earlier, and you find out if you've been accepted earlier. The good thing about EA, some students go into winter break already knowing which colleges they've been accepted to. And that's great. That really helps you with narrowing down your list. Maybe over winter break, you can do some traveling, whatever the case may be. But EA and ED give you earlier consideration. So you have a decision earlier on of which schools you got accepted to and which schools you're going to be attending. ED, binding. EA, not. Now, if we're applying to schools in Texas, we tend to use a different system in Texas as always. You may hear ED and EA at some places, but at a lot of our state schools in Texas, we use terms like scholarship, priority, and regular. Okay. So if we ever say the priority deadline, that's going to be the deadline you're going to want to aim for here in Texas, because a lot of those priority deadlines are the university scholarship deadlines. Okay. This is usually an earlier deadline than the university's final or regular deadline. Okay. So for instance, on here, I have the University of Houston. We already talked about that one. You can kind of see I'm drilling something in, huh? So University of Houston, November 1st is the scholarship deadline. The final deadline to apply to U of H isn't until well into 2021. But if you're looking to be considered for the academic excellence scholarship at U of H, if you're looking to be considered for any merit-based aid that may come, or any need-based aid that may come through U of H, if you're interested in the Cougar Promise, which basically states if your family makes below a certain income, tuition is going to be covered for you at the University of Houston, you're definitely going to want to get everything submitted by the priority deadline. Okay. So sometimes it comes with scholarship opportunities. Sometimes it comes with a better consideration for your major. So for instance, if I tell you we're applying to A&M by their priority, A&M doesn't technically have a priority. But at Bel Air High School, when I say A&M's priority, that means October 15th, because I have personal insight that engineering and business usually fill up by November 1st. So we don't want to wait that long for those in-demand majors. We're going to want to get our stuff submitted earlier or by that priority deadline. Okay. And last but not least, that regular or final deadline is going to be that deadline that you need to know that is your last effort, all hands on You need to make sure that you get everything submitted by this deadline, okay? So for instance, Texas A&M and UT have that notorious December 1st deadline. So if you're applying to either one of those colleges, we're gonna wanna make sure that we get everything submitted by November 1st, or by, excuse me, December 1st. If not, we wait till December 2nd, that application will not be available. If we wait till December 3rd, they're not accepting transcripts, letters of rec, so on and so forth. So we need to be sure that if we are doing our research and we're applying, we know our deadlines, we have them written down in our phone, our calendar, our planner, something, and then we're following that deadline. We're working backwards to create a plan. Okay. If you have questions, check the admissions websites or come see us in the College Center. We can help break down what some of the things mean to make sure you're applying on the right, by the right time. All right, transcripts. I'm going to go ahead and see if we have our special guest on the line. Ms. Brevard, are you here?
Mr.
Nope.
Lee, she is not.
She is not. Oh, okay. So I'll take over the slide. So transcripts are going to be handled a little differently this year at Bel Air High School. And Ms. Brevard was so gracious enough to give us a video that I'm going to play to help walk you all through step by step how we're doing transcript requests this year. The video is also going to be located at the Bel Air website under requesting a transcript. So let me go ahead and get this ready.
Hi, this is Ms. Brevard, the Bel Air High School Registrar, and I'm going to be sharing with you the process of requesting a transcript. So our method for requesting a transcript this year is going to be using the Naviance program. You can get there by going to the HISD Hub, Power Up Hub, log in with your HISD account. Once you are in the hub, you will go to Digital Resources, which is on the top bar. Under Digital Resources, you can search for Naviance and select, and it'll automatically take you to the Naviance web page where it should automatically sign you in with your HISD account. Once in Naviance, you will go to the college's home in the top right corner, and then go down to the bottom left under Apply to Colleges and click Manage Transcripts. Here's where you'll find this red plus. This is how you request transcripts. You are either going to request a transcript for college application or other. If it's other, you type in the information. You do this for both. Put in the date. We need at least 10 days to process transcript requests. Put who it's going to, and then please include notes over here. We would like to have an email address to be able to send transcripts electronically. So you can include the, please email the transcript to the swim coach at bethblue@swimcoach.com. And then you just click request and finish. That request goes in here. This is where you can manage your transcript request and monitor the progress and see when they're sent and when they're mailed. So you have the ability now to see and confirm that everything is being processed. All right, look forward to a great year. Thank you.
Awesome. So that should answer a lot of questions about how we're doing a transcript request this year. For students who maybe have done transcript requests in the past, it's gonna look different, okay? Doesn't mean you're doing anything wrong. It's just gonna be different, and this is how we're doing it this year. The reason I like this method is you all are able to track your transcript and you're able to see when it gets sent to the university and if the university has received it. So it's a lot less of, does the university have my transcript? Did you send it, Mr. Lee? Mr. Lee, do you even send transcripts? So now you all have a better understanding of how that timeline works. For transcript requests, we must make our transcript request at least 10 days prior to the deadline. Okay, 10 days prior to the deadline. Again, if we already said our deadline is December 1st, we need to work 10 school days. I guess I should say school days, 10 school days backwards. Okay, 10 school days is 2 full weeks, Monday through Friday, 10 days. So you already know you need to set yourself up 2 weeks in advance. If November 1st is your deadline, request your transcripts by October 15th. All right. If you're looking to get everything in by October 1st, you need to have everything in by September 15th. Okay. On here, we put if you have a January 1st deadline, that's usually a deadline over winter break, you must request your transcript by November 24th. So the registrar has time to send that off to the college. Okay. Again, you may want to write this down, put this somewhere, start, highlight it, something. If you have a January 1st deadline, then you must request your transcript by November 24th to ensure that it gets there on time. Okay. Transcripts that are issued to students are considered unofficial. So back in January, you all should have gotten your unofficial transcript from Miss Brevard. If you didn't, you can go to the Bel Air website and request your preliminary rank and worry about that later. But if you did get a copy of your unofficial transcript, good. Keep a hold of this, because some schools are only going to want you to submit your unofficial transcript this year because they understand how difficult it is to get things because of COVID. So what we can do is we can potentially scan with our phones a copy of your transcript and upload it to the universities. Or some schools have moved to self-reporting, where as long as you tell us your grades, that's good enough for us. Now, the thing I want you all to keep in mind is we're going to want to be as accurate as possible when reporting your grades, because should we make a mistake and say, oh, that C accidentally became an A, or I took 4 years of German and all of a sudden have A's in all of them. Yeah, no, not going to work. So universities are going to compare that information that you self-reported to that final transcript that you're going to have to send them once you've been accepted. So we're going to want to make sure we transpose everything as accurately as possible. But if you have that unofficial transcript, that's going to be a good document to use for self-reporting. So here's what the timeline is going to look like. You all, rank was ran in July of 2020, and that's going to be what we use for the first part of the college application, okay? Sometime around mid-October, rank is going to get ran again, okay? So it's very important, if you have NGs, holds, if you have missing credit, if there's anything wrong with your transcript, then we take the first month of school to get that situated. We're going to use our time now to get those transcripts taken care of, because rank is only ran twice a year. Transcripts are only updated twice a year. So should we not have all that information ready, we may not be able to send our application or the most accurate transcript on time to the university, and they may not be able to accept us to the university. So clear up any discrepancies that you may have with your transcript before we run rank in October. Before we run rank in October, Ms. Brevard will send out the transcripts, say, please look over it. If there's any mistakes, let me know so I can fix it. And we're also going to have a meeting that I'll talk to you about that here in a bit, just to understand what all your class rank means, your GPA, get a better understanding of that. In that meeting, we'll talk about, should you remove your class rank or should you not? For some students, removing your class rank is good because it makes the university look at your GPA and how high it is, and it forces them to look at you more holistically as a student and a lot less based off of your numbers. Now, given the pretext of this year and how every little bit of your college application is going to be important, I don't necessarily know how beneficial it is. We're waiting to hold that meeting in October when we get some more information, and then we'll get you all the answers that you all need. Okay? But please note that once you remove your rank, it is final. It cannot be put your rank on, put your rank off, put your rank on, put your rank off. Once it's gone until February. In February, all transcripts sent out after February have to include rank. And that will be for any schools that are looking for maybe mid-year transcripts or mid-year reports or mid-year updates on how you were as a student. Keep in mind, if you're applying to Texas A&M University, you must have your rank on there. So you already know you can't remove your rank. There you go. Also keep in mind, if you're applying to Texas A&M University, you do not need to request a transcript unless you are in the top 10%. because Texas A&M is self-reporting. Another piece of information. Okay, this has to be my third most requested email behind SAT and ACT, letters of recommendation, fee waivers, okay? So let's talk fee waivers. First and foremost, you all need to ensure that you all have filled out or will fill out the socioeconomic form. To my understanding, it's being uploaded to one of the platforms that you all use. And here we go. It's mandatory that we fill out the socioeconomic form for this school year. It will be on your HISD Connect, and you need to be checking your emails for information regarding this. This is from Ms. Mulette. She's in charge of our Title I benefits, which are associated with fee waivers. It is very important that we get this information so students are applicable for scholarships, SAT and ACT fee waivers, college information, and waivers for college applications. This form also helps with discounted internet prices. So if you haven't already, checked your HISD Connect portal or Power School, and on there, it should be a form called the socioeconomic form. Socioeconomic form, okay? Fill this out because this is what we use to determine if you qualify for fee waivers, okay? If you do, great. Here's what you get with that, okay? So you get the testing waivers. As I've already said, you can send me as many emails as you want. If you are not doing the research and your schools are not requiring you to take the SAT, there's no point in you taking the SAT, okay? So if you were looking for testing waivers, I'm going to ask you, which schools are you applying to? Which schools are in your Naviance already, where you have to take the SAT, where it's mandatory, okay? Should you need to, you get 2 ACTs for free and 2 SATs for free, as well as 6 subject tests for free. Don't worry about subject tests. Very few, our top tier colleges are pretty much the only ones who ask for subject tests. But should you need to take them, you have 6 for free that you could take. Along with testing waivers, you also get college application waivers, okay? So should you qualify for free and reduced price lunch, you get unlimited Common App fee waivers. So what that means is basically you check a box in Common App that says you qualify, your counselor goes in and verifies. If it's true, they check on their part. If both boxes are checked, your fee waiver is waived for each application. Okay, so that's if you're using Common App. If we're not using Common App, College Board gives us 4 college application waivers as well. Okay, so they give us 2 SAT waivers and 4 college application waivers through College Board. Okay, if you want your 4 College Board fee waivers, you would need to log into your College Board account for that information. Okay, they're on there. I don't know usernames, I don't know passwords, so if that's something that you need to figure out beforehand, go ahead and sort that out. After that, I can show you where you can find your fee waivers for College Board. You also are applicable for 4 ACT fee waivers. Should you take the ACT test, you get 2 testing waivers and 4 application waivers, okay? So if you take the SAT, you get 4. If you take the ACT, you get 4. But the 4 ACT work just like College Board, except those aren't given to you digitally. You have to come or email me for those, and I would have to send you your ACT waivers, okay? College Board, they know who tests. They send out the waivers. ACT, I have to check that you test, and I have to give you the waivers. Additionally, NACAC is another fee waiver that we use. And honestly, this is probably one of the most common fee waivers outside of the College Board fee waiver. So the NACAC fee waiver is just a good general fee waiver put together from a national committee that says, based off the information that the student provided, the student qualifies for a fee waiver. We send it to the university, they waive the fees. Okay, so we kind of broken down testing waivers, college application waivers. A lot of students are saying they need their college application waivers. Initially, I need my college application waivers. You don't really need that until pretty much after we've already done the application, okay? One question I get is, Ms. Lee, when do I submit everything? We're gonna wanna submit everything around the same time, okay? If we already know we're submitting our application this week, we know when we set up our schedule 10 days in advance, we need to do our transcript requests. We know 30 days in advance, we need to do our letters of rec requests. And then we know we need to send out our fee waivers, however the university wants to receive them, around the same time that we press submit on our application. So universities will say we want it via snail mail. So put in an envelope, throw a stamp on it. We want you to email it to us. So scan it, upload it, and email it to the admissions office. So for instance, admissions@pvamu.edu, okay? Or they want you to upload it to the portal. So a lot of schools have portals that you received access to after you've submitted your application. And we'll talk more about that later. But once you press submit on your application, some schools may say, go ahead and upload your fee waiver to the portal. So those are the three most common ways that you can submit the fee waivers. You need to find out from your university how they want to receive it. That research. All right. Some schools also want you to submit essays, okay? Research if your college needs essays first. One thing students love to do is the first 2 months, I have students that are like, yeah, Miss Lee, I'm doing college essays, I'm doing the college stuff. And then it's December and I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, I'm still working on my essays. No, get these essays written, reviewed, and let's submit them, okay? This summer, we held an essay workshop with Mr. Stewart. I led one last week, okay? And I emailed you that information last Friday. I think that was the 4th, okay? So again, it's hyperlinked in here. You got an email about it. Read the email, watch the videos, utilize your resources, okay? Another resource is next Monday, I'm partnering with the English 4 department to bring you yet another essay workshop, okay? So that's gonna be next Monday during the English content hour. I'm a little unsure of when that is. You can check the Bel Air schedule and it'll have on there what time it is, but I know it's on Monday afternoon, okay?
Monday at 2:10, Mr. Lee.
Awesome, Monday at 2:10. So after you've written your essays, after you know what essay you need to write, you've taken the time to write your essay, should you need it to be edited or reviewed, you're more than welcome to upload it to the College Center through our Google form, and either myself or Mr. Stewart will review them. I tried to go in and review some last week. I didn't have access. I requested access. Please make sure when you do that, it's not private or a private doc. Otherwise, it just slows up the process. But nevertheless, we want to be a resource for you all. We want to be here to help review and edit your essay. So if you need help, come to us. However, like we said earlier at the beginning of the presentation, there are 790 of you all. Okay, so it's only 2 of us in the College Center. There's only so much we can do. So definitely let's lean on our English teachers, past and present, our parents, our family, maybe friends who are really into literature and English, and let's lean on them, okay? Because I don't know if you all know this, and I don't know if you picked it up from how I've been saying it in the presentation. Our essays are gonna be more important this year than ever, okay? If we're taking away that component of standardized test scores, I need to learn about who you are some way, somehow. And there's only so much I'm gonna gather through your transcripts or your resume or the actual application itself. So your essay, in essence, is gonna serve as your interview for the university, for them to get to understand who you are as a person and if you're the right fitting student for the university. Ultimately, whether you attend a workshop, review a workshop, or if you think your essay is set and ready to go, please keep in mind that your college essays need to be about you. There should be something in the essay that we learn about who you are as a person, why that's important. So whatever you are, who you are, how you identify, why that is important, and how can we relate that back to the university? And ultimately, every essay should be able to answer those 3 questions. So If not, attend next Monday's workshop. Maybe rewatch the workshop we already did, see if you can pick up some tips, and let's make magic as far as your essays this year. Dun, dun, dun. Rec letters. Okay, I'm going to keep it moving. Okay, rec letters. Ask your teachers and counselors via a Teams call with 30 days advance notice, okay? I showed you all this in July. I showed you all this in the meeting back in March, okay? So this shouldn't be new information. Ask your teacher or counselors via Teams call. This is probably the only part that's changed. In the past, we used to say in person. We can't do it in person. I'm saying Teams call because I want you to see each other face to face and have confirmation that they will be writing your letter of rec, okay? Try to schedule one with your teachers 30 days in advance to ask. If they're okay with writing, at that point, you need to ask your teacher, what do you need of me? Would you like my brag sheet, which usually counselors only need, but some teachers like the brag sheet because of how detailed it is? Or do you need my resume, which is simply a list of all the extracurriculars I've been involved in? You may have it written for jobs. You may have it written for organizations or your college list. Teachers will say one, the other, or both. And then from there, they'll write your letter of rec. Now, if we are applying to Apply Texas and we need letters of rec for those schools, you need to provide your recommender either with an email address to send those recommendations to, or a link to upload those recommendations to. Again, Apply Texas, email address or link. You have to do the research and find this information. If it's not on the website, we may have to call the Office of Admissions. Okay. I know UT and A&M will only look at the first two letters of recommendation that they receive. So no point in submitting 5 to those universities. They'll only read the first 2. For Common App, the universities will tell you on Common App how many letters of recommendation they're open to receiving. However, our letters of rec for Common App will be sent via Naviance, okay? And we already talked about that. I told you all we're gonna go to Naviance, upper right-hand corner, click on colleges. From that drop-down, we're gonna click on applying to college. From that drop-down, we're gonna click on requesting a letter of recommendation, okay? If you're more of a visual person, we got a video right here for you. Okay? Common App, Naviance. Apply Texas, email address, or upload link. Now, for our Apply Texas letters of rec, they're going to differ from our Common App letters because our Common App letters have to be teachers, counselors. Apply Texas gives you more flexibility, and they say you're encouraged to ask anyone who knows you well enough. So it may be a camp counselor, it may be a youth leader, it may be a boss, it may be a family friend with whom you internshiped with, okay? So whoever knows you well enough could attest to your character via letters of recommendation through Apply Texas. Common App, teachers, counselors. Sound good? And please remember to say please and thank you to your recommenders because they don't have to write you a letter of recommendation. They're going out of their way to brag about how amazing you are. The least you can do is say thank you for their efforts because this may be a life-changing letter of rec because this may be the difference between you getting accepted and you not. So say please and thank you on the front end and don't forget them come the end of the school year when you have to say please and thank you again. For those of y'all who are interested in sending letters of rec via snail mail, this is how you address an envelope. I know that's kind of archaic in 2020, envelopes, stamps, okay? But it's a skill you may need to know throughout this process. So if you ever find yourself stuck and you do not know how to fill out an envelope, here you go. If you ask me, Ms. Shalee, how do I fill out an envelope? I will refer you to this slide. Okay, so we have put our schools in Naviance. We have used applied texts. We know about essays and letters of rec, and we know how to send those to the university. What else do we need to send off? All of our additional supplemental items, okay? So in the College Center, we says, if it says optional, just do it, okay? We don't want to leave any stone unturned, and we want to make sure we give our universities everything that we have to offer so they can say, wow, we really want this student, okay? Because if it comes down to an extra supplemental additional item that was between you and Susie Q, and now Susie Q got in because she turned it in, you're going to kick yourself in the behind for that. So let's not even get put in a situation like that. Let's set ourselves up for success on the front end. So if it says optional, just do it. Talking resumes, portfolios, short answers, okay? Anything along those natures. If you have to submit these things, maybe they're major specific. So maybe you're interested in studying architecture and they want to see what your portfolio is, or you want to do art design and they want to see something along those natures. Or let's say you want to do Plan 2 honors and they want to see a resume. Check with these different places, the universities, the departments, whomever, and see how do they want you to submit these documents. More important than ever, we need to make sure we're submitting things correctly and on time. All right, just do it. Financial aid. Everybody loves free money. 1 second. All right, FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, opens October 1st. According to my non-existent watch, that is in 22 days, okay? So we have 22 days to get prepared for financial aid. So the first steps you can do now to prepare for that is create your FSA ID. This is going to be your username and password that you have to create and at least one of your parents at home. It takes about 3 days to verify through Social Security that you are who you say you are when you create your account. So if you make it now and set it aside for later, it'll make applying for FAFSA that much easier. Again, you're going to need your own username and password, and at least one of your parents at home with a Social Security number is going to need a username and password. If your parents don't have a Social Security number, but you do, perfect. Go ahead and continue filling out FAFSA. If parents don't and you don't, we're going to talk about some options about what you can do here in a bit. If you are preparing for FAFSA, go ahead and let's locate those 2019 tax forms. So this should be your 1040 that your parents filed maybe back in April, May, June. They kind of moved the date this year, but we need to find those forms because those are going to be the forms that we use to input the family financial information into the FAFSA. Okay, we have the opportunity to use this tool called data retrieval tool, which what that does is it takes the information directly from the IRS and it puts it into the FAFSA for you. I prefer this method because it eliminates any error. It reduces your chances of getting selected for verification, which means the universities want you to submit extra documents to prove that the information you put in the FAFSA was accurate. And it saves time. We don't have to bounce back and forth, figuring out where's this question, where is it located. It literally takes all the information, puts it where it needs to go, and we can move through the process that much quicker. Okay? So keep in mind, FAFSA is coming up soon. As we're doing research on our schools, remember, check that priority or the scholarship deadlines because some schools are moving them up. Some schools are changing them for this school year. So I just want to make sure you have the most accurate information. Like U of H that I keep plugging. Last year, the deadline for scholarships was November 15th. This year, it's November 1st. So if that's one of your options, keep that in mind. We're going to have a parent meeting to talk about college affordability and some ways to make college more affordable on Thursday, September 24th. We do not have a time for that yet. You will get emailed the time. You don't need to know all of that. Just go ahead and put it in your calendar. Thursday, September 24th, because it is a parent meeting, it probably will be in the later half of the afternoon, sometime after 2 p.m. Okay. When we submit financial aid, it is very important that we submit it correctly the first time so there aren't any mistakes, because it's very difficult to make corrections on financial aid. So do not press submit on your financial aid without having someone at the College Center, either myself or Mr. Stewart, look over your application. You can set up a one-on-one with us. I'll ask you questions as I review your application. If everything is good, you're more than welcome to press submit in that moment. But we really want to eliminate as many errors as possible. So let us review it before we submit it versus you pressing submit and then we have to sit on the phone for 3 hours with the Office of Admissions, or for this instance, the Department of Education, the Federal Department of Education, okay? It's hard to fix federal documents, so let's not make mistakes. Scholarships, money, money, money. Okay, so scholarships, institutional aid is going to be the aid that comes directly from the colleges. Sometimes colleges have separate applications for scholarships. Sometimes it's built into their admissions application. So as you're doing your research, and if you need scholarships, which we all do, make sure you know if it's an extra application that you have to fill out, or if it's part of the admissions application. If it's an extra application, make sure we know where it's located, when it opens, when it closes, and what do you need to submit. Okay? Usually that second application through that scholarship application for the university is going to ask you your demographics, your numbers. They're also going to ask you essays. Why do you think you deserve this? Okay? So that's money coming directly from the university. Keep in mind, you can also get money from outside scholarships or organizations as well. I like to say, if you could eat it, drink it, or wear it, there's probably a scholarship for it. Chick-fil-A, Nike, Foot Locker, there's a scholarship for it, okay? So keep that in mind as we're looking for money this year. A good place to also look, if you work, students, look at your job. As I just mentioned, I know a lot of you work at Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A gives out scholarships to its own partners, as well as Starbucks. Starbucks actually gives out free tuition if you work there to the university, Arizona State University. So keep those things in mind. Some big scholarships coming up. Oh, excuse me. I talked about you all, if you worked. Also keep in mind if your parents work. A lot of parents' jobs offer scholarships to the dependents or the spouses or children of that job. So if your parents work for a company that may offer a scholarship, definitely apply for that, because how many other students do you think are applying for that scholarship? How many other people may have senior age students applying for that scholarship that year? So take advantage of every opportunity. Do not leave any stone unturned. Some big scholarships coming up. Gates Scholarship. This is one of my favorite scholarships. This is a full ride. That's all I say, period, full ride. This is a scholarship that pays for undergraduate, so your bachelor's, master's, or doctorate degree should you be interested in pursuing your education and going that far, okay? You do have to be nominated for this scholarship. Tomorrow, we will be having a scholarship workshop to talk more about Gates. So if you're interested, tune in tomorrow for that. An email should be going out with that information later today. Additionally, there's QuestBridge. That's another top tier scholarship looking to match students who come from low economic backgrounds, who have excellent academics with some top tier colleges and universities. So if that's something you're interested in, we're going to be talking about that also at tomorrow's meeting for top tier scholarships, as well as the Jack Kent Cook Scholarship. So if these are something you're interested in, I'm giving you the names, do research. I'm giving you the deadlines, do research. If you're interested, do research, okay? Now, we get a lot of scholarships at Bel Air High School, and it's so hard for us to manage all of those different scholarships. So what we do is we put everything in a nice little neat one-stop shop place for you all to reference. And that's going to be Cash for Cards. So tinyurl.com/BHS Cash for Cards. That takes you to our scholarship listing. Granted, it is not updated yet. It will be updated by the end of the week. It's still a lot that Mr. Lee is doing to make sure the virtual office is set up for you all, okay? So when we come here, It's going to have information on the deadline, the name of the scholarship, the minimum GPA, if there's a GPA requirement for the scholarship, the eligible grade level. So if it's open to underclassmen, that information will be right here as well as the criteria for this scholarship, what all you need to apply to it, the value of the scholarship, and then there's usually a link here that'll take you to the scholarship's webpage, okay? This is something I usually go in and organize. Like I said, it still needs to be organized, but the way it's gonna be set up is it's gonna be August 1st, and then you'll just scroll down. So as we go throughout the year, we'll eventually get to November, and all I'll have to do is update this information, and you all should be good to go, okay? So we started this transition last year, and these are all the scholarships from last year. This year, we're going to go through, check and see if they're available. If they are, update the information. If they're not, we remove them and replace them. And that's something that a lot of high schools don't have. So definitely take advantage of that website, okay? If you go through there and you say, Mr. Lee, I went through and I can't find any scholarships for me, come talk to me and I can hook you up with some scholarship search engines such as College Greenlight or Niche. I wouldn't want you to get caught up in any of the search engines that have you pay, because you shouldn't have to pay for free money. Makes no sense, okay? So don't get caught up in the scams. Don't pay for scholarship search engines or scholarship money. We're almost at the end, y'all. Hold on tight. Okay, residency. So I want you all to know that anyone who is interested in college can attend a college regardless of citizenship. And we in the College Center are committed to helping you all with that, okay? If you are undocumented, if you're not a US citizen, if you don't hold papers for citizenship here in the US, you can still qualify potentially for funds to go to college. We, instead of filling out the FAFSA, are gonna fill out the TASFA, which stands for the Texas Application for State Financial Aid. And what that is Texas money for Texas students to go to school in Texas, okay? We won't fill out FAFSA and TASFA, we fill out one or the other. So if you are a US citizen, permanent resident, we're gonna fill out FAFSA. If you are undocumented, TASFA's there to help us get funds for college. Additionally, there are some scholarships also that do not require citizenship. So look on Cash for Cards for those, or come see me, and as they come up, I'll let you know what those scholarships are. If you know that you're undocumented and you know you're interested in applying to college, you need to come see us sooner rather than later, because there's a lot of additional steps that we need to keep in mind to set you up for success. But ultimately, we want to let you know we're here to help you all with whatever your career, your educational or post-high school goals are. So don't let anything like that stop you. There are options if you're interested. Okay? So whether you're interested in majors, SAT, ACT, is this college right for me? What's mandatory, FAFSA, TASFA, or December 1, we are here to help you. So don't panic, just press the help button and come visit us at the College Center. And by visit us, I mean virtually, okay? So to the left, you have my information. Again, I am Devontae Lee. I'm your college access coordinator at Bel Air High School. We also have our college advisor, Mr. Marcus Stewart, through the district, okay? And I don't know if Mr. Stewart is on. Mr. Stewart, are you on by chance?
He is not.
He's not? Okay. But here's his information, equally knowledgeable. Reach out to him via email. We have both our emails up there. If you are interested in setting up a one-on-one appointment with either of us, we have our bit.ly at the bottom. It's bit.ly/Big B Bel Air Big CC, okay? It's case sensitive, so type it in and that should take you to our Microsoft bookings link. You can set up a one-on-one with us. Now, before you all run to go set up on the bookings, please make sure it is something important. And that's not to say we don't have questions that aren't important. There's some questions that can be answered via email, or there's some questions that I'm going to answer in my weekly open advising hours. If it's something that I can answer in one of those, let's try to reserve those times to pop in for those questions, okay? If it's, Mr. Lee, I want to sit down to talk about my list, and I want you to say my list is good and I have maybe 1 or 2 questions. That works for me. The best way to approach the one-on-one meeting is, if you know you have one scheduled, go ahead and start collecting all of your questions, maybe on a notes tab in your phone, or maybe a sticky note on your computer, whatever the case may be. Get your questions organized, ask us all of them, and we can answer them set by set by set. Okay? So I did a lot of talking about what we can do. Here's our expectations of you this year in the College Center, okay? Students who go through this process are always end up stronger on the other side, but sometimes students don't understand what they're getting themselves set up for. So the expectations for the College Center and some of the outcomes are strong work ethic. You come in, you're gonna work hard all year long, and you're gonna understand how to start point A to point B on a project and complete it. You're also going to develop good communication skills because you're going to have to talk with these scary people called adults. We're going to have to learn how to submit emails, make phone calls. So your communication skills are definitely going to be A1 after this school year. We're going to work on time management because the college application process, if you haven't noticed, is a full-time job. You should be dedicating about 40 hours a week to it, some way, somehow. In addition to potentially working a job, in addition to your schoolwork, your extracurriculars. For some of you all, your family is your job. So just keep in mind, we're going to have to manage all of our time throughout this year. You're going to learn how to work well under pressure. Okay. This process is very stressful, but I want you all to know there are going to be times where you have to do things with a short turnaround, and there are going to be times where you have to do things and you have a million other things to do. Do not fret. You have support here in the College Center, okay? You will not be the first student to ever be stressed out throughout senior year, and you won't be the last. But know that we're here to help you. You're going to learn how to act as a team player, how to have a positive attitude, how to be flexible and adaptable. Throughout this process, you're going to gain self-confidence because things are going to go good from time to time. And when things don't go good, you're also going to gain the skills to problem solve. And the reason I put this on here is because if you look on the right side, I visited, I think, Allegheny back in November of last year, and they shared a presentation with us, the top 10 most valued skills in the workforce. And these are the top 10 most valued skills in 2020 that employers are looking for. So you're gonna learn throughout the process of applying for college how to be successful in the real world. So whether you're looking to matriculate to college, maybe you apply and you decide military's for you, or whatever the case may be, you're still going to get those real world applications to help you post Bel Air, okay? And as I mentioned, remember, it's not a marathon, it's a sprint. We have 9 months of school, and there's going to be something that you have to do each month that's college related. So don't get anxious now, don't feel burnt out now, because it's going to be a long process. I'm not going to overload you all with too much information on the front end, even though I kind of just did. I'm going to try to give you all little information or little tidbits as we move week by week. So we'll have a lot more workshops this year, a lot more one-on-one meetings, and a lot more things to help hopefully get the information out to the masses that you all need to know. But with that being said, I expect you all to be checking your emails. I expect you all to attend as many live events as you can as possible. And I expect you all to keep in constant communication with me if there's an issue, if you need help, or if you need something from us. Okay. As I mentioned to you all, I'm still shifting or shuffling through my emails. There's a lot of them. So if we talked about it today and it didn't answer your question, send me something and we can continue. But also keep in mind, I will be holding an open advising session tomorrow to get any questions of students that students may have. Important dates. We will have virtual college visits weekly. So check your Naviance to see who's coming. I'm also going to be emailing you all out who's coming, as well as Naviance will email you reminders of who's coming. Our parent college affordability meeting, September 24th. I put a time on here. I didn't put one on the other one. 6 p.m. Don't hold that to be fact. It's going to be September 24th, but we don't have the time set in stone yet. Keep in mind, FAFSA opens October 1st. FAFSA's first come, first serve. As soon as you fill it out, you get to stand in line first for any potential funds that come. And then last but not least, the virtual college fair for Bel Air High School is going to be October 13th. we have any questions, comments, concerns, hopes, dreams, or fears?
Mr. Lee, you have really actually done an amazing job, and really you have answered almost every question within this presentation that has been asked, other than some very specific things. The recording of this meeting will be posted on the website within 48 hours, and it can be reviewed. So if you're not sure, you didn't catch the entire transcript process, or you're not sure about letters of recommendation, they can review how you addressed it and get their answers.
Yes, ma'am. Sounds good to me. So if we don't have any questions, additionally, as I mentioned, everything that was highlighted or underlined red on this presentation is going to be a hyperlink. So when this is put on the Bel Air website and the College Center page, you can come to this presentation, click on here, and it'll take you directly to the links that you need. Okay, so without much further ado, that is my presentation. If you did not get the information on communication when you came in, please make sure you go to bit.ly/all caps HISD, the number 2, capital COOLEGE. There you can sign up for Bel Air High School and district texts and emails just to make sure you stay up to date with all that is college related, okay? If you do sign up for text responses, please note that I can see those messages, so keep it PG, because Mr. Lee is not trying to turn you into your AP. And that's that, okay? Please note, I'm excited. Like I said, this is year 7. It's a marathon. We're gonna be running all year long, but you're with Coach Lee, so I'll make sure you're taken care of. Thank you all so much for attending today. If you have any questions, again, this will be posted within 48 hours. Tomorrow, I will be holding an open advising hour from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. I'm gonna go ahead and confirm that with you all now. Yep, open advising from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow. If you have any questions, I'll be sending out the Teams link via text and email. Jump in, ask your question. You're more than welcome to listen to others, or peace out. Thank you all for attending today.